Hello everybody. I thank all of you for being here with us today. Though some are not here physically, they are with us in spirit and thought. We have put a short audio visual to celebrate my father's life and times. Due to a very short leash on time, just 4 days, we have not been able to reach a lot of people who he was close to, for which we apologize. Randhir Singh Malia was born on 4th of April 1920 in Pabnawa in Punjab. After his graduation in Lahore, he went to Lucknow and did his MA and LLB simultaneously there. Besides studies and skirts, he also represented the university in lawn tennis. Mixed doubles was probably the lure. Whilst in college, he was selected by Colonel Strand to join the Royal Indian Navy Voluntary Reserve. World War II was on at the time. At 23 years of age, as a young sub-lieutenant, he got married in Jan 1943 in Patiala to Dr. Joginder Kaur Malia, Juggy as her friends knew her. She was the Viceroy's gold medalist from Lady Hardinge in Delhi. One hears he impressed her brother first to get to her. She was blue blood, Showed he was a strategist right then. Juggy was known for the welfare and family planning work she did for naval sailors. Many a sailor would be silently thanking her for not having a battery of kids to look after. Immediately after marriage, Ron Malia, as he was known, was sent on board ships in the Eastern Theatre, known as Southeast Asia Command. He served with the British and saw action in various places during World War II. As a beach commando in Indochina, Saigon, Chittagong, he witnessed the fall of Rangoon, Cambodia, Akyab, Cox's Bazar, Ramli Islands, and so on. After the war, he was posted on INS Cheetah in Trombay when the mutiny took place. He played a very important role in controlling and pacifying the sailors. He was earmarked by Admiral Dixon to go to England for the long gunnery course along with R.L. Pereira, retired as CNS, Jani Kirpal Singh, retired as Rear Admiral, Rashid Ahmed, retired as Admiral of the Pakistan Navy, Guppy Das Gupta and Watson Adams. Chandy Kurvela was also there in Portsmouth at the same time. There are many a hilarious story on what these young officers did, and some we understand included a few English girls too. Once, when flagged down for a traffic offence, Randhir gave his name as Chandy Kurvela, who was summoned for the offence. A few weeks later, when the British Admiral was to take a guard of honour on board Ron's ship, just 10 minutes before the Admiral's arrival, with all on deck in full regalia, a boat comes alongside, with 10 pretty ladies armed with swimsuits for a day in the sun. Any attempts to chase them away were futile, as they all insisted they were invited by Lieutenant Ron Malia. Randhir, of course, had no clue of this when faced by a fuming commander. On the ship anchored close by, Chandy Kurvela, with a pair of binoculars and a beer in hand, was having the laugh of his life. He sure got back. Strong bonds of camaraderie were created and friends for life were made. When in Portsmouth, these young officers were informed that the country was being partitioned and were given a form to choose, India or Pakistan. Rest is history. Only Rashid Ahmed opted for Pakistan and went on to become the Vice Chief of Pakistan Navy. Throughout service, due to protocol, he and his Indian counterparts could not talk to each other. Post-retirement, they are in touch once again. After partition, he went to Dehradun in 1949 as Bravo Squadron Commander at JSW for the 1st to 4th courses. He was then the Naval Advisor Attaché in the office of K. Parsatharthi, the Indian ambassador in Hanoi. At that time, he was personally asked by K. Parthasarthi to join the Indian Civil Service, but preferred to stay in the Indian Navy. This was when Pandit Nehru, accompanied by young Indira, had visited Hanoi. He was also the ADC to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in Mumbai. He went through various offices in the next few years. Commanding officer of INS Konkan, served on flagship INS Delhi, a freshly promoted commander as Chief Liaison Officer to then Captain B.A. Sampson in Bombay Dockyards. After his posting to Cochin as officer in charge of the gunnery school, he was next CO of INS Kothar, anti-submarine ship, F-14 and squadron commander of Kothar, Kirpan and Kukri. During this time in 1961, he was actively involved in the liberation of Goa when he bombarded the Portuguese vessel Alfonso de Albuquerque. After his sea tenure, he was posted to Castle Barracks as Caprax in mid-1962. His CO, Captain Robin Batra, had described him as a young human dynamo. In mid-1964, he was promoted to captain as Chairman Service Selection Board, Meerut, after which he was posted to NHQ, Delhi as DNT, Director Naval Training. In Jan 1968, he was posted back to Cochin as Commanding Officer INS Vendruthi, where he was then promoted to Commodore in 1971. He was the naval officer in charge Cochin during the Bangladesh War.
When I returned from UK after my training in 1952, I was appointed to Rajput. At that time, the leader of the 11th Destroyer Squadron. One of my valued shipmates was Lieutenant Commander Randhir Malia, who was the squadron gunnery officer. He was a very valued colleague from whom I learnt a thing or two.
The last time we went out together was in the United Services Club. Rusi Gandhi, myself and Randhir, 3 fellow gunnery officers were there, and we had a very hilarious afternoon. Randhir was a man of many talents. He even dabbled in writing poetry. I would like to pay a tribute to his family who looked after him in his final years and months. Friends like Randhir Malia are difficult to find.
From 1972 onwards, his final posting was Director NCC, Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry till Jan 1974, when he retired from the Indian Navy after serving for 31 glorious years. With the first chapter of his life over, he was like a bull in a china shop at home, and a different home ministry encouraged him to get out of the house, which is when he started his second innings. In Jan 1975, he joined Great Eastern Shipping Company and founded the first ever private shipping cadet academy at T.S. Jawahar. It was also the first one in the private sector to be recognized by the Government of India.
We were very lucky and very fortunate to find Commodore Malia from the Indian Navy. In Commodore Malia, we found very, very high standard of discipline. His thinking was that everything should work clockwise and no nonsense of any kind would be tolerated. This helped a great deal in finding an excellent quality of the cadets that were produced at the Training Institute. During his tenure, he worked in the academy for approximately 25 years, and during that tenure, he trained roughly about 2,000 cadets. We found the quality of the cadets trained were outstandingly good. It was the first training institute by a private shipping company in the country and perhaps in Asia. I should like to give my highest compliment and a salute to Commodore Malia for what he did during his tenure in Great Eastern. The standard of discipline which he introduced at the institute, even today, is admired and appreciated by one and all at our training institute, which is now commissioned in Lonavala.
Just a few reminiscences of Commodore Malia. I came to know him when he started our academy on T.S. Jawahar, and he was such a stickler for time. So he would give us a time like this, not to meet at 10 o'clock, but a few minutes past 10 o'clock. So we had to be exactly only that. If we were early also, he was not there. If he was late also, he was not there. So that is where he told me and showed me the virtue of time. He was also a strict disciplinarian, and where I thought I would put my sons there so we all learn the value of what is to be disciplined and what is about time. You have no right, he always used to say, take something from someone which cannot return. So you have no right to make a person wait, because you will never be able to return him the time which you have wasted of his. Commodore, we are going to miss you very, very greatly.
Great Eastern management had told him to continue as long as he wished. And after 23 years with them, at the age of 77, he decided to hang up his boots.
I have been associated with Commodore Malia from the time that he was identified to be selected by the company for taking charge of the training academy. The academy was primarily to train young boys, 12th standard passed, and select them on merit basis. He must have trained something like 2,000 cadets over a spell from 1973 onwards till he called it a day himself around the end of the century, or maybe the beginning of 2000. So you can imagine about 2,000 boys, all trained mostly for Great Eastern, and thereafter finding their ways all over the world and spread around. So far as Malia, as we knew him, he was a completely different person altogether. He was a strict disciplinarian, a born disciplinarian, and at the same time, he was very good at heart. And sometimes he would just sit and remember the good times, the not so good times. And it was really a great challenge that he faced, the company faced, and he fulfilled it. He, I think, enjoyed his life as a naval officer. At the same time, gave back everything you see for what he was appointed for. He was a very loyal, dedicated. Loyalty was something which had to be understood to be believed. He would impart that loyalty to the cadets, loyalty to the ship, loyalty to the academy, loyalty to the company, and wherever they went, to be loyal and make their seagoing profession a career.
I have known Commodore Malia since my school days, as Manjeet is my classmate. Became closely associated with him when he joined Great Eastern Shipping to start the Cadet Academy, for which he spared no effort to make it the finest institute in the industry over a period of time. There are many cadets who have passed under him, and they all respect him, not out of fear, but out of love. Even now, some of them are topmost in the shipping industry, and they remember him with love. He was loved by all. He was a fearless man and always insisted on doing things right after careful thought and without hurting anybody. Always. He was a jolly good fellow and will always remain in our hearts.
His innings in Great Eastern are best described by his senior colleagues and cadets he trained.
We are two of the hundreds of boys of Commodore Malia. What can I say about the Commodore? How do I remember him? Ramrod straight, aquiline nose, sparkling eyes, impeccable in his dress, manner and bearing. What a man. What a man.
Commodore Saab was one of the grand men with a grand style, and every time I looked at him, even in that short stature, he looked the tallest among all that I have seen in my life. And at this time, thank him from the bottom of my heart, because what he has done for us, I doubt anybody could have done better for us.
He taught us almost everything there was to learn as far as life is concerned. How to lead life with integrity, honesty.
And I think each one should stand up and salute the great man for what he gave the shipping industry, and without doubt, some of the finest people he created out of that.
Some of his favorite phrases, one was, "My boys." That was all of us, my boys. A lot of times when he would be giving a speech in class, and Commander Isaacs would be standing next to him, and he would look at the commander and say, "Am I right, Commander?" So he led life on his own terms. And what I would like to say is, Death, you didn't take the Commodore away from us. He agreed to accompany you. Absolutely.
I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for Commodore Malia. He was able to choose or select people who were really good. He had an eye for judging people, and that must have come out of years of experience of dealing with different types of people. But look at the guys, type of people he selected for the academy. Even the way he carried himself, he was always a Commodore, you know, from head to toe. Even if you see him in cities on his evening walks of parade, he still looked like the Commodore. You know, he was just terrific in the way he carried himself. So to the man who launched 1,000 seafarers or more, I say, goodbye, sir. Thank you, and may you rest in peace. While you may no longer be there, but your legacy lives on in each one of us, and we will always strive to make you proud. Thank you, sir.
I've yet to come across a man who has so much of a zeal and has given so much to life and helped so many people in his life. Not only in his own career or profession, but even in his personal life, he was a man of a major and a very big heart. We all remember him fondly. Remembering Commodore Malia, I'm short of words to describe his personality. A man with so much of a zeal, so much of enthusiasm, so much of confidence, and I think we all have to learn a lot from him and live a life and help people the way he did.
I have very fond memories of Commodore Malia. He was always a very strong man in personality and in physical strength as well. I still remember he would always insist on doing panja with me, even till a couple of years back.
He had more than his fair share of tragedies in life. Looks like God tests those who can bear it. He loved sher o shairi, and one sher he often quoted was, "Ranj se khugar hua insan, to mit jata hai ranj. Mushkile itni padi कि सब आसान हो गई." He was a man of many facets and was even a poet. When the doctors literally forced him to stay in hospital for 3 weeks following an illness, he wrote a series of poems while gazing into the ocean. His sister Sanjeevan encouraged and published them as a collection titled The Lonely Furrow. He did a few readings of his poems in the Poetry Society of India, and Nizam Ezekiel encouraged him to write more.
He was the head of the family, and we all depended on him. He was a complete man, not in the Navy, as a family man also. He was a writer in his own rights. He got a book published. Actually, I got it published here. The name of the book is The Lonely Furrow. This contains all the poems written by him, and this speaks of his thoughts and thinking and personality. and he was a permanent part of the school administration and member of this family, school family. We called it Angels Parivar. Yesterday in our Gurdwara Sahib, Antim Ardas was done there. A langar for the poor people was done, and Ardas was conducted for his peaceful journey to the heavens.
R.S. Malia, our Commodore and dearest friend. He was one of the noblest souls whom I met, and it was a pleasure to be friendly with him and his family. My wife was very friendly with his wife, who was a doctor and very, very helpful.
Going back in time, he indeed was an icon as far as the present generation of the Malia family is concerned. He was the first one to join the services, and you all know that he was one of the most known officers of the Indian Navy, and he carried himself exceedingly well. I would say that rarely you come across an officer and a gentleman of his demeanor and conduct. He really was, as I said earlier, highly respected. He believed in the dictum of having served with dignity and kept up the same dignity in retirement.
Uncle Randhir has been my father's pupaji and has been the epitome of grace, of style, of wisdom, of good energy, good thoughts. He brought to our family grace, honor and wisdom, and for that we'll always be very, very grateful to him. He brought to us a lot of good energy and a lot of glory, and I would always associate with him the word glory because that's who he was, with a glorious career and a glorious energy and an energy that was boundless, smart, stylish, graceful, and ever so thoughtful. His words were always perfect, his thoughts were always perfect, his intentions immaculate. And that's the kind of human being, graceful and charming he always was.
Da, you have been a very indulgent father. You took care of every need of the family throughout your life. We will miss you forever. There could not have been a better father than you.
Parents are God's representatives on earth. My father was an extremely magnanimous personality. I miss him. He was not a Sawa Lakh Khalsa, but a Sawa Crore Khalsa. God bless his soul in heaven. I miss you, Dada. I have no more words to say. My thoughts are deeper than my tears.
My Da was a truly amazing person. He gave a little bit of himself to everyone he met and everything he did. He had a stern exterior, but inside he was a soft person, very helpful, excellent sense of humor, and a great wit. I learned a lot from him. I learned what can be achieved through true grit and determination. He used to always say, respect is commanded, not demanded. But he also said there's no age bar to having girlfriends. I will miss him very dearly, though a part of him will remain with me forever. At the age of 77, he decided to hang up his boots. In retirement, he spent more time with the family. He could be spotted with Rusi Gandhi over a cup of tea or a beer in his favorite US club. He caught up with his traveling overseas. He was active even when he crossed 90, but health deteriorated in the last couple of years.
When I think of my Da, I always associate him with his poetry, his literature, be it English, be it Urdu. जब भी मुझे मिलते थे डा, मुझे बोलते थे रीना, खुदा पे छोड़ दी मैंने, खुदा को ना खुदा समझा. खुदा ने छोड़ दी मुझ पे, न जाने मुझको क्या समझा. तब मैं नहीं बता सकी क्या समझा. But now I can say, दा खुदा ने आपको एक guardian angel समझा. Then also I can think, मम्मी बोलते थे डा को for his famous sundowners. Stop it, don't have it. And then Da would tell mummy, जगी पिला दे ओक से साकी, घर मुझसे नफरत है, प्याला दे न दे, शराब तो दे. That's my Da for us. Love you, Da, always.
Tell me about your fond memories of Randhir.
He was a wonderful, wonderful grandfather. There's a certain instance which comes to my mind when I think about him. It's that when I joined T.S. Jawahar as a cadet for the first time, one of the passing out cadets told me that do whatever you want out here, but always stay clear of the Commodore, and that always stuck to me.
Sure. And what about your pocket money incident you told me about?
The bus money. Well, whenever I used to come to Sunita as a 10th standard student or even as a second mate, I always used to get something known as pocket money or bus money, whereby Da used to empty out his entire pocket and give it to me and say, this is your pocket money for the day or bus money for the day. I love him for that.
He's a legend.
This is so much harder than I would have thought. There's so many words that come to mind when thinking of Dada. The first few are giving, loving and caring. My whole life Dada spoiled me rotten. Whether it was saving me from Papa when I did something wrong or buying me everything and anything I wanted as a child. I will miss him so dearly. Love you, Dada.
Dada always used to tell me the most amazing stories. He used to tell me stories about the Navy and the war and about Dadi, who I wish I had gotten to meet. I remember all of the stories. Whenever Papa used to get mad at me, he used to hug me really close and yell to Papa, "Don't you dare yell at my daughter." I'm gonna miss you so much, Dada, and I love you.
मेरा नाम अशोक है। मैं इस घर में 95 से काम कर रहा हूँ और इस घर से, घर वालों से, साहब से बहुत प्यार मिला। साहब ने मुझे बहुत प्यार दिया और मैं साहब को बहुत याद करता हूँ और करते रहूँगा।
A week before he passed on, he told his son that it was time to go. He even decided that. What a man. सूरज किरण मिली, जल का जल हुआ राम, ज्योति ज्योत रली, संपूर्ण थिया राम. This is of Prongs Reef Lighthouse, from where he will remain close to his T.S. Jawahar, his favorite US club, and his home in Cuff Parade. A father, a soldier, an administrator, a friend, a poet, and a forever helping hand, and above all, a great human being. We salute you.